This is the plaintiff, Andrew Wiles. He says he rented the second floor of his two-family house to the defendant, and when he moved his wife and son in, there was suddenly a mouse problem. He thinks he brought the mice from Jamaica, where he lived prior to moving in. The man caused all sorts of crazy trouble. Bottom line, he stopped paying the rent, and he's here suing for the $1,675 he's owed. This is the defendant, Silbert Rose. He says he lived in that apartment for 44 years without any problems. Then all of a sudden, the plaintiff turned evil. It was like a switch went off in his head, and he was forced to leave. Owe him money for all the trouble he caused? Ha! He's accused of running out on rent.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket. The plaintiff says he rented the second floor of his home to the defendant, and when the defendant brought his wife from Jamaica, there was suddenly a mice problem. But the defendant says the plaintiff is pure evil. It's the case of, I hate those Mises to pieces.
Andrew Wiles,
Yes.
You are suing your former tenant, Silbert Rose, for $1,675 that you say you are owed in rent and late fees from when he departed. Tell me what's going on.
Okay, it came to a point where he paid his rent for March late, okay?
How long had he been living there?
He had been living there over 40 years. He was
Wow.
a tenant of my aunt, then my mother passed away. I inherited the house. So I didn't charge him a security deposit when I took over the house.
Did he pay a security deposit when your aunt was renting to him?
Yes,
How much in security deposit did he pay your aunt?
$350 back in 1972.
And you know that because he says so?
Yes.
Do you have any evidence that he paid a security
No.
deposit?
What I had informed him was that if he was able to produce the receipt, I had no problem with giving him back his security deposit.
Was he able to?
No.
When did you start having problems?
The problem actually started when he moved his family in from Jamaica.
Okay.
Okay, not Queens, but the island.
Oh, you say that like it's a bad thing.
Right.
Well,
Okay.
I don't know why you're saying my child's godmother is from Jamaica.
From Jamaica?
I'm starting to take a little offense, but go ahead.
Okay, the first problem was that he had a problem with the wife. They stated that he had committed domestic violence against her and had him put out on the street, okay? The man was crying. He was put out, okay? She had an order of protection against him. And then eventually, she let him back into the house. As time went on, other issues started to arise. The noise, 5 o'clock in the morning, she's using a carpet sweeper. They walked like there was no floor in the house. It's stomping, it was just out of control. I had to tell her in the text one day that this is America. Now, I don't know what you all did in Jamaica, but in America, black people usually wake up on a Saturday and Sunday a little bit later in the day.
Okay.
Okay? The son, we started receiving mail at my residence with other people's names on it.
Is it a communal mailbox?
Yeah.
Didn't you just look at it, think it was an error, and send it back to the post office?
So one of the letters had a gentleman's name, Mr. Lilly. Charles Lilly. And I spoke to Mr. Rose and asked him if he had any relatives named Charles Lilly. And he said no. Later on, another envelope came in for Charles Lilly from UPS. So we wrote on it, return to sender. UPS turned around and returned the same envelope back to us, okay? So previously, maybe the day or so before, the son, Mr. Jackson, came to my door and asked me if I received any mail, which I didn't. The person that received the mail was my daughter and wife. My wife got into an argument with Mr. Jackson over this envelope that came from UPS.
Come on up, wife.
Good morning, Anna.
Good morning. So tell me about the argument.
So I go out there and I said, I saw that it says Charles Lilly. I told him at the time, no, there is no Charles Lilly that lives here. And you should not be giving this mail to him. I asked him what was his name. He refused to give up his name.
Did the UPS guy end up giving him the mail?
Yes. He ended up. Yes, he ended up giving the mail. I got into.
Was his stepson saying, "I am Charles Lilly"?
Yes, it's from my uncle. He kept on saying it.
From my
I
uncle.
said, so your uncle is named Charles Lilly? I just want you to know that whatever mail comes to this house, and it's not with your name, your mother's name, or Mr. Rose, it will be going back where it belongs at the post office.
Right. Did you ever get to the bottom of all this, or you just alerted all
we got to the
appropriate
bottom
authorities?
Of it.
Okay.
We went to the local post office. We put in a claim. They did it also because her federal income tax was missing. We put in a claim for that.
And you ended up seeing the check was forged by someone?
Yes. And she had a microfilm.
Well, whose account
that
did it
came-
go into, or did it just get cashed?
It got cashed.
Yeah, that's the end of that. Unless
Yeah.
it got cashed at a check cashing place?
It must have been something
If it
like
did,
I don't
then
know.
there'd be pictures. Doesn't it say where it got cashed?
Yeah, they sent me the microform paperwork for me to do, so I had to prove my signatures, and this person just printed my name, and they started misspelling.
Come closer to the
They-
microphone.
Okay.
Mom, step back a second. Don't push it. Were they able to see what entity cashed the check?
They never stated such a thing, but they showed me a picture, a photocopy of what the signature looked like.
Yeah.
which was not a signature.
Yeah, I'm just curious.
And it was
Who's cashing these checks without cameras and that kind of thing?
Exactly.
All right, but you ended up getting your money back from the IRS, I
Yes,
take.
eventually.
All right, Mr. Rose, how are you?
Okay.
44 years living in a place is a long time. I'd hate to have some stepson come in and ruin it like that. What happened? What was your stepson doing, getting all kinds of mail that?
Your Honor,
Did you ever confront him and say, "I've been living here 44 years. You
Yes.
have ruined everything for me"?
I did.
And what did he say?
It's like he didn't know about it.
Oh, he didn't know about it, but you don't believe he didn't know about it.
Well, it's true. I don't believe him. I didn't
Right.
believe him to be
And
right.
are you still with the mom?
Yes, ma'am.
You are.
Yeah.
And did she falsely accuse you of domestic violence?
Yes, she did.
Why are you
But-
with that lady? What's she got? What magic does she have that, you know? You are no longer living there, correct?
Right.
All right. So he's suing you because he says that you didn't pay rent for April.
Yes, I did not because I thought I was living out my security. That's the reason why I didn't pay that money.
Okay, well, let's talk about that. Like your security, do you have any proof of having paid your security, or you don't have that after 44 years?
Yes, ma'am. I think I have the first check. It's here.
Oh, great. Can I see it?
Yes. 72. Am I right?
It says 1972.
Yeah, that's the one.
Do you have a check that goes with this?
No,
What-
I always pay in cash, and they gave me it, and give me a receipt for it.
Take a look at that and tell me what you say. Does that look like your aunt's writing and all that? I mean, I don't know if you'd be familiar
Yes.
with it. It
Yes.
does, okay.
Yeah.
All right, and does it say security deposit on that receipt? Boy, I was ready to... I just keep getting surprised around here.
It doesn't say.
No, doesn't say that.
Okay, so what was the amount of your security deposit?
190.
Not $350.
No.
No, okay. So your security deposit was $190 in 1972. Got it. So if your rent is $1,000 in April, how is it you were calculating that the 190 44 years earlier was sufficient to pay rent in April?
No, but the rent keeps going up, Your Honor.
Yeah, I know. That's my point.
Right.
Rent keeps going up.
Yes,
So
it
you
keeps
can't
going
pay 1972 rents. Are you happy where you're living now?
No.
Do you wish you were still living there?
Yeah, sure. I didn't have
like
a problem.
home?
I didn't have a problem with him.
No,
really.
I know. He didn't have a problem with you either. It's the people you surround yourself with he had a problem.
So, can landlords and tenants get along indefinitely, or is there inevitably a falling out?
I really wouldn't know. I rent for my grandma, and she's been the greatest landlord ever. So,
Okay, anybody not rent from their grandma here? What do you say?
I'm with her. I live with.
Everybody's with their grandma here. Are you with your grandma?
I'm with my mom.
Going inside the courtroom.
At some point, then, because of the issues, you tell him he's got to go.
Yes.
You tell him he can stay, but you raise the rent.
We told him that he could stay, but his family had to
go.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. You tell him that when? In December?
Yes. Late.
Right.
I'm sorry. October.
Okay. Come December, though, which was supposed to be the last month, you asked him for more time, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you ended up staying all the way until April.
Yes, I did.
And then you were paying between January, February, March, and April. You're supposed to be paying what?
$1,000 a month.
And what had rent been in December?
In December, it was $900.
Okay. So he pays January. He pays February. March is the first month you have a problem. What happens?
Yes, he paid late, 9 days late.
Is that accurate?
No, it wasn't accurate. I never paid my rent late, Your Honor.
Do you have proof of when you paid? Did you pay in cash?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have a receipt?
I think it should be here, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Do you happen to have a copy of the check? Or was it a check or
Yes,
cash?
yes.
Cash.
No, they said you wrote a check.
No, I don't find it. You
All
can
right.
check
You
it.
wrote the check on March 9th, according to her picture of the check that she deposited.
Yeah.
Does that look like your March check? So it sounds like you were late in March. And then in April, you admit that you didn't pay at all because you figured the security deposit would cover it. He was there till the 19th of April. That's when he moved out?
Yes, they moved out. Actually, it was the 20th because they came back the next day, the son and the wife, to pick up
was it kind of testy with the son and the wife?
With the wife. I came with the exterminator, and I called Mr. Rose because...
Why an exterminator? What was that issue?
Well, because when they moved in, we didn't have a problem with mice, okay? After they moved in and during their stay, the son sometimes would leave the side door open, and all of a sudden we had this infestation. So we tried to use a natural method of using peppermint oil and things of this nature because my wife and daughter are asthmatics, okay? She complained about the smell.
Of peppermint?
Yes.
As opposed to the mice?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So we can stop now. Let me just all right. Where do you get the idea that you're able to charge $25 a day? Is that in one of the prior leases?
Yes, that's
May
in the
I see
lease.
the lease that entitles you to $25 a day as opposed to $25? Was there a mouse problem, Mr. Rose?
Yeah, mice was inside the house. Yeah.
Was that your stepson's fault?
I don't know. I never
Do you
heard
get along
about
with
it.
your stepson?
Not really.
Yeah. What does your wife say about all these checks coming to the house?
I don't know.
You didn't talk to her about it?
I speak to her about it.
You did speak to her about it.
What's going on.
And what did she say?
It's like she didn't bother with it, it seemed to me.
How old is your stepson?
23-year-old.
Yeah, it's time for him to be out on his own. Is he still living with you or is he out on his own?
He's still living.
Wow, she does have magic. Okay, but this says we'll be charged an additional $25 per infraction for any late rent. And you're interpreting that to mean daily? Why isn't it minute by minute then?
I was trying to be fair.
No, you're not trying to be fair. That's poorly worded, actually. I don't know who drafted that, but you should have a set amount, and the set amount is not per day. It's a set amount, and that 25 is very low. But per infraction means the rent is already late in March. It's $25 per month, according to that. That's how I'm going to read it. Because if it's per day, it should say per day. It's very easy to say the words per day. So for March, I am finding that he owes you $25. For April, I am finding that he owes you $25. And for April, I am finding that he owes you $1,000 minus $190. And here is why. I know that you might think that there's a lot of interest on $190 throughout the course of all those years, but guess what? Providing you with interest is not necessary in your state when it's only one tenant. If it was a building full of tenants, yes. There's all these rules about putting the money in a separate interest-bearing account, and et cetera, et cetera. He didn't do anything with your money. He didn't even get your money, and money came, went to the aunt. I don't know whether she kept it in a separate interest-bearing account. I highly doubt it, because I think somebody would know about it and be getting statements. And if it's just one apartment that the landlord owns in that building, and it's not in a bank, there's no interest to talk about. So I'm going to take the $190 that you're actually able to produce a receipt for and that you acknowledge. It doesn't say security on it, but it's the month. This is the month that you started?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you know when you started? Who remembers 44 years ago? I can remember 44 minutes ago. right, but we'll give him the benefit of the doubt on the 190 because I think that's appropriate. So, but that's it. So that's $810 that is due for April, plus the $250 late fees, for a total of $860 due to the plaintiff. Verdict for the plaintiff. Good luck, folks.
So the plaintiff does finally get his rent, not all he was seeking, but he does get it. Mr. Rose, if you'll step over here. I assume you're okay with this, that he's going to get the rent finally?
Yeah, I'm going to get it.
Okay.
He's all right. I don't have a problem with him.
Okay. Well, you could have paid it and you wouldn't have had to be here, you know.
Yeah, he's all right.
He's all right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen, thank you very much. You must sign a few documents on your way out of the courtroom?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much. Mr. Wiles, you and your family will step out of here.
All right.
All right. You okay with the judge's verdict?
Yes, and a little no.
No, okay.
Yeah, the per diem thing hurt.
No, well, it wasn't clearly written.
Yeah.
You understand that?
Yeah.
Go rewrite it for the next
definitely
time.
will.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay. You said you thought those mice may have come from Jamaica. Do you really believe he brought mice from Jamaica?
No.
Okay. All right. I've been trying to figure out how they got here. Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, Doug, look, whenever money changes hands between landlords and tenants on both sides, get documentation.